Welcome back to Chat Like a Native.
Great to be back.
Today we're diving into something really crucial if you want to sound more natural in English.
Phrasal verbs.
Exactly. Those little combinations like, turn up, look after, give in.
And the ones learners often find a bit tricky.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like you're just memorizing endless lists, but you're still not sure when to actually use them?
Or you see the words like give and in, and you understand them separately.
But together, it's a mystery.
Right.
Well, in this deep dive, we're going to move past just memorizing. We want to explore how you can really understand them, use them instinctively.
So your English sounds more natural, more fluent.
Trust me, getting a handle on these really can level up your English.
It's true. It often seems like there's just this huge random pile of verbs to learn.
Yeah, overwhelming.
But the key, I think, is realizing there's often a kind of logic behind them. They're not always random.
Exactly. Just trying to memorize hundreds.
Yeah.
It can feel like banging your head against a wall. Right?
Yeah.
But what if we looked at those little words? The particles. Up, out, off, down.
Yes, the particles.
They often carry a core meaning, don't they? Like a sort of flavor they add to the main verb.
That's a really good way to put it. It shifts the focus from just pure memory to actually understanding how the meaning is constructed.
Okay, so let's take up.
Yeah, up is a great example.
When you eat up your dinner, what are you really doing?
You're finishing it, right,
At
completely.
And if you speed up a project.
You're increasing the speed, making it go faster.
And when we say this show is about to wrap up,
it means it's finishing, concluding.
So there's a theme of completion or increase there.
Precisely. And what's really cool is if you get that flavor of up, then maybe you see a new one, like clean up.
So even if I haven't seen it before, I can guess it probably means finish cleaning or clean completely.
Exactly. Now, it's not always just completion. Up can also be literal, like stand up or look up.
Right, direction.
Yeah, so sometimes the meaning can blend, which adds another layer. But seeing the completion pattern is a huge first step.
Okay, I see. It's not totally random. So what about another common one, like out?
Out is another good one. Think about throw out the trash.
You're removing it, getting rid of it.
Right? Or if someone is handing out flyers.
They're distributing them to people.
And if you wear out your favorite jumper.
It means you've used it so much, it's like exhausted, it's finished.
Yeah, unusable. So following that kind of logic, if you hear about needing to wash out a stain.
You guess it means removing the stain by washing.
You got it. Or if a shop sells out of something.
All gone. They've all been distributed or sold, none left.
Exactly. So we see up often hinting at completion, out suggesting removal or distribution. It's about spotting these general tendencies.
It really starts to make more sense when you see those connections. Okay, what about off? What's the general vibe with off?
Off often suggests separation. Or maybe cancellation.
Like call off a meeting.
Yeah, cancel it, separate it from the plan. Or you might cut off a piece of tape.
Separating it from the roll makes sense. And down.
Down often implies lowering something or maybe breaking something into smaller parts or stopping it working.
Like telling someone to calm down.
You want them to lower their energy, their agitation.
Or if your car breaks down.
It stops functioning. It's broken, in a sense, into non-working parts.
Okay, so understanding these particle hints is useful, but it's not always just about the meaning, is it? I mean, sometimes you can split the verb and particle up.
Yeah, that brings us to another important point, the difference between severable and inseparable phrasal verbs.
Right. Separable means you can put the object in the middle.
Exactly. Like turn off. You can say turn off the radio or turn the radio off. See how the radio can move.
Okay. And you have to say turn it off, right? The pronoun goes in the middle.
Yes. With pronouns like it or them, they must go between the verb and the particle for separable verbs.
But then there are inseparable ones, where the verb and particle are stuck together like glue.
That's right. They always stay together. A common example is run into someone, meaning meet unexpectedly.
So you'd say, I ran into my teacher.
Correct. You would never say, I ran my teacher into.
Okay. That definitely sounds wrong.
It sounds quite unnatural, yeah.
Yeah.
Often, these inseparable ones feel more like the particle is acting like a preposition, showing direction or relation, like into in that example.
Whereas the separable ones often use particles like up, off, down, which feel a bit more like adverbs.
That's a good observation. Often that's the case, though it's not a perfect rule.
So is there like a magic trick to know which is which instantly?
I wish. Unfortunately, no single foolproof rule covers everything. Experience and exposure are key here.
Which brings us to context.
Exactly. Context is so incredibly important.
Like trying to understand slang, you need the situation around it. How does context help with phrasal verbs?
Well, think about how native speakers learn them. It's not usually from lists.
Right? You just kind of absorb them.
Pretty much. Through loads of exposure in real situations. So when you're watching TV shows, listening to interviews, or podcasts, like this one.
Shameless plug.
Well, yes. Pay attention to how people use phrasal verbs. When do they pop up?
So less focus on the dictionary definition and more on seeing them used in the wild.
Precisely. Read stuff too, articles, dialogues, things that reflect everyday speech, the words surrounding the phrasal verb, the speaker's tone.
It all gives clues.
Vital clues. Clues to the meaning, the nuance, and it really helps lodge it in your memory in a usable way.
Okay, so we're getting the logic, we see the importance of context, but how do we actively learn them so they become part of our own spoken English, not just something we recognize?
Right, moving from passive knowledge to active use. This needs some practical strategies.
Like what?
Well, one really effective approach, surprisingly perhaps, is to focus small. Maybe pick just 2 new phrasal verbs each week.
Only 2. That sounds manageable, but maybe slow.
It's about depth, not breadth, initially. Take those 2 and really work with them. Write your own sentences.
Make them personal.
Yes. Record yourself saying the sentences. Get used to the sound, the flow, and the best thing, try to slip them into conversations.
Actively using them makes them stick.
Absolutely. Production cements learning far better than just recognition. It's like practicing scales on a musical instrument versus just listening to music.
Good analogy. What else? Any other active techniques?
Interactive exercises can be great for reinforcement. You know, fill in the blanks, matching the verb to its meaning.
Quizzes and stuff.
Yeah. And if you happen to be studying with others, you can even try acting them out. Phrasal verb charades.
Like verb charades. I actually love that idea. That sounds fun.
It can be. Making it memorable and engaging really helps.
Okay, so look for particle patterns, pay attention to context, practice using them actively, maybe even play charades. Anything else we need on our radar?
Yeah, just a couple more quick but important points. First, register.
Formality level.
Exactly. Some phrasal verbs are super casual, like hang out. Use that with friends.
Probably wouldn't suggest hanging out in a formal job interview.
Probably not. Others are much more formal, like set forth, meaning to present or state something. You need to get a feel for when each is appropriate.
Okay, register. What was the second thing?
Collocation. Which words naturally go together?
Ah, like word partnerships.
Precisely. Certain phrasal verbs just sound right with certain nouns. You make up a story.
Not make up a plan, usually. You'd carry out a plan.
Exactly. Or you carry out a task or carry out an order. Noticing these typical pairings is key to sounding natural.
So it's the whole package. The meaning, the structure, separable, inseparable, the context, the formality, and the typical word friends it has.
You've got it. It sounds like a lot, but it becomes more intuitive with practice. It's really a journey.
Just noticing them.
To understanding the logic behind the particles and pairings.
And to actually producing them yourself in speech and writing.
And then reviewing them regularly so they move into your long-term active vocabulary.
It's a cycle. Notice, understand, practice, review. That definitely feels more doable than just staring at a list of 500 verbs.
It really is. Shifting your approach to understanding the why and the how makes a huge difference. Focus on the patterns. Watch how native speakers use them. Practice actively. You'll find they start to feel much less daunting.
All right, fantastic advice. Let's maybe start wrapping this up then.
Sounds good.
So the main message here really is that understanding the patterns, the sort of logic behind phrasal verbs, those particle meanings, how they work with verbs, seeing them used for real, that's way more effective than just rote memorization.
Much more. We talked about looking for those particle clues, really tuning into the context, and crucially, practicing using them yourself.
So here's a little takeaway thought for you listening. The next time you come across a phrasal verb, maybe in an article or a song, don't just, panic or skip it.
Pause for a second.
Yeah, pause and try to break it down. What's the main verb doing? What might that little particle be adding? How does it fit the whole sentence, the whole situation?
You might just surprise yourself how much sense it starts to make when you approach it that way.
And how much more natural your own English will start to sound as you get comfortable with them.